sexy. Hello, darlings, and welcome back to my channel. Oh my god, my arms are so pale. I definitely bronzed myself up a lot. But in any case, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you enjoy this video. It's going to be a bear pride flag look and a little bit of a chit chat about gender, sexuality, sexual orientation, and all that great jazz. So if you're interested in seeing how I got this look and learning a little bit, then just keep on watching. But while you're watching this video, if you enjoy it, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, join the darling army. It's a fantastic place. Okay, let's go. What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm so green. I feel like all I'm missing is like super luscious lashes, but it's not worth it. Is that Brandy? I think she's here. Okay, bye. What? Okie dokie. Hello, universe. What's up, mains? Everybody. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing today, to be honest. I was originally thinking about doing a wish haul, and then I realized I'm still missing a bunch of things that I ordered, so I'm going to wait till they all come in. So I thought we would just chit chat and maybe put some makeup on. Unless I change my mind. I don't know. Yeah, I guess we can go through this information that I have. So I'm no expert on gender, sexuality, or anything like that. So let me just put that disclaimer out there right away. I've only know stuff that I know, and I've done a little bit of research. My dogs are terrible. Beer of the day, by the way, hazy little thing. Why would they bark as soon as I start talking? They're annoying as hell. Little bird out there doing something crazy. I don't know what. It's being cute. I look like a super dyke today. I'm okay with it. Are you done being a bitch? Maybe I will do my eyes first. I don't know, man. I'm so like, right now. I don't know what's happening. The different characteristics that begin to define a person as masculine or feminine, whereas sex refers to your genetic traits assigned at birth. Gender is influenced by society, environment, and genetic factors, which I think is very accurate. So of course, I just said this, but I'm gonna say it again. I will link all my sources down below in the description box. So if you want to go find them, go right ahead. And have fun with that. So, why does it matter that we understand the difference between sexual orientation and gender? And I think that the main reason is that people often conflagrate those things to be the same thing because they live in a heteronormative society that is against change. And it's not even a change of sexuality, is a change of a mindset, like the change of the binary. So for some reason, it's easiest to just say, oh, you're a male, you're attracted to females, and you identify as masculine. There you go. These dogs are gonna make this extremely difficult today. What the fuck? I'm gonna put a little Ashanti on the outer corner to darken it up. We'll see if it's dark enough. We might need to go in with another one. God, Juvia's Place shadows are so freaking beautiful, right? Do you see this? I'm talking over my dogs, and I'm sorry, but y'all gonna have to suck it. I don't know what else to do. They're so annoying. And it's too hot to put them outside. So let's talk about my sex. So my physical sex is female. I have a vagina and a vulva and a uterus and fallopian tubes, oops, I'm kicking a box, and all those things. So I am a female sexed being, creature from the deep. Convenient for me, my gender is also female for the most part. Well, I don't like to say it is like super 100%. And I don't think anyone is super 100%, and I think that's very confusing too. But like, you know, like tomboys, they might be female, they might identify as female, but they don't present 100% as female because they show masculine traits, traditionally masculine traits. Let me just say that out there. If I'm saying female and masculine traits, I'm talking traditional, stereotypical female, male. Long hair, short hair, muscular, not muscular, hunter, gatherer. I'm not gonna go into any depth in that because obviously there's a whole lot of psychology behind the idea of masculine and feminine traits anyway. So let's just be very like, that is a stunner. Okay, give me a raise. So let's see. So Karen L. Blair, who writes for Psychology Today, has defined gender conformity as meeting your biologically assigned gender stereotype within the gender binary. So that's if you are male or female. And your gender also aligns with your sexual organs and genitals and all the things. So gender non-conforming is not fitting into those stereotypes. So that is anything in between male and female genders, regardless of your genitals. Okay, then, and I thought this was just an interesting tidbit. This guy, David Ludden, from Psychology Today, also wrote a whole paper on how gender-neutral vocabulary defies the rules of proper English grammar, because basically in English, the only gender-neutral vocab words we have are the singular they. So, like, for instance, you call me by my pronouns, which are her, she, and her. I don't know, like, what am I saying? You call me by my pronouns, which are she and her, and you may call a guy he and him, but what if they are gender non-conforming? Then what would you call them? You would call them they and them, except it's technically against the rules of grammar to have a singular they. Like, who even gives a crap? But just from a interesting, like, etymological standpoint, I think that is interesting because interesting. I think that is interesting because the fact that it's so deeply rooted in the English language, such like a resistance to gender non-conforming individuals, whether or not that was done purposefully or not, like, who freaking knows. But anyway, I just thought that was an interesting thing. So that's my story on that. This is real cute. This is real cute. Okay, let's go into Coral, which is this yellow gold shift from the Tribe palette. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about gender? So I think one thing that's very important to note, and this is just my own knowledge, I have no sources on this, but not all people who don't identify their gender as their sexual organs, not all of those people go through surgery to have the other sexual characteristics. So not everybody who is born with female secondary and primary sexual characters, not all of them go through the surgery to get a penis, and vice versa. Not all people that are born male go through top surgery and bottom surgery to become a physical female. And that's not required. Like, it's not a requirement to still have a valid gender identity because your gender and your genitals don't have to match. And I think that's a major, like, confusion for some people. Like, okay, so why don't you just go through the surgery and then your gender and your genitals will match? Perfect. And it's like, that's a big step and it's a lot. And I think that's unfair to pressure people into that. Like, you do you, and you tell me what pronouns you want to use and what your gender is, and I will just go with it. It's fine. Like, it's not my place to be like, do you have a penis? Okay? And if you feel like that's your place, then you need to get out because that's just a serious problem. Whoa! That's a serious sexual problem. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so let's flip the page and continue working on this makeup. So that's my little rundown of gender, okay? If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. As I said, I'm not an expert. That's just some stuff that I know and have read about and blah, 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 blah. All that. Oh my God. Okay, that's a pretty sick wing, I think. I need to use a marker on this little bit right there, or maybe I'll just use some shadow. Yeah, I'll just use some shadow. Okay, so what do we say? We said what sexuality is. Sexuality can include biological, erotic, physical, emotional, social, and spiritual aspects to that overarching principle. So it's not just as simple as, I want to have sex with that person because of X, Y, and Z. It can be a lot of other things, which is also confusing to people because people don't like to think. So there you go. So there you go. That's a thing. I need a black. Okay, we'll use this Beauty Killer black. It's called Black Rainbow, is that right? Yeah. It's got a sparkle on it, but who gives a fuck? I do what I want. Let's use a little pencil brush. Yeah? Okay, pencil brush. Okay, so Better Health Channel, which is an Australian news source, defines sexuality is not about who you have sex with or how often you have it. It is about your feelings, thoughts, and attractions and behaviors toward other people. You can find people physically, sexually, and or emotionally attractive. Hence what I said, that it's not necessarily about sex itself, the actual sex act. Sex act. Sounds so dirty. Not about the actual sex act. Although it can, obviously, a lot of time it does have something to do with that. But it's not always that simple. Simple is not my cup of tea. Okay, we're gonna go back in with an orange to blend out the black. We're gonna put up some brown in there too to make it look so pretty. Neat, I think is the color we need. Super dark brown from the Warrior palette. Okay. What are we talking about? I don't know. I mean, I should know, but I don't, because this is my video. Is it though? Is it really? It is. It really is my video. Of course, I'll drop a perfectly clean brush on the ground like a moron. Okay, so let's see what else you want to talk about, huh? Different types of sexuality. Okay, so everybody knows you can be straight or heterosexual. You sure can. That is a valid sexuality. You don't need a freaking straight pride month or straight pride parade because you are not hunted down and murdered in multiple countries for falling in love with someone of your own gender. Like that's some sort of crime. Fucking assholes. But that being said, it's still a completely valid and real sexuality. So I don't understand why people think that gay pride, and not all people, obviously this is like a selection of people, but it's big enough to be a problem. Like people feel invalidated in their sexuality because gay people and non-straight people, queer people, need a pride month because we're like fucking put in prison and murdered for being gay. What the fuck am I talking about? Serious social problems, that's what. Excuse me while I vomit. Cool. A good vomit's always nice. So yes, heterosexuality, being straight, etc., etc. That is a valid sexuality. Next, homosexuality. It's the opposite of heterosexuality, where you are attracted to the opposite gender instead of the same gender. Yeah, so that's your lesbians, that's your gays, your typical gays. What? There are no typical gays, but I guess there are stereotypical gays. Lesbians, gays, etc., etc. That's your homosexualities. Homosexuals. What am I even saying? Guys, I don't know. I'm insane. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. I'm one with the word snow, let it go, let it go. I heard Elsa's gonna have a girlfriend in Frozen 2, and I'm all about that life. Because she should have a girlfriend, because that's awesome. Girlfriends are great, says the pansexual over here. Okay, okay, so you got your standard homo and heterosexualities. What else are there? 8 million things. So there is kind of like an umbrella term, which is queer, which could include being gay or being a lesbian or being bisexual or being pansexual, polysexual, heterosexual, scoliosexual, polysexual. All the sexuals can fall in that, and it can also be anything that doesn't have a definition. So maybe you fall between 2 different sexualities, and that's totally fine. Then you're queer. That's cool. Or you can make a word for it, because why not? So that's queer. So I'd identify as queer for sure, on top of my normal classification as pan or omnisexual. It's really pretty. It's really pretty. Okay, let's do my makeup. My face makeup. I've been really into this makeup forever. No, I keep saying that. Makeup Revolution foundation stick. Because it's so unbelievably full coverage. I'll go ahead and do my whole face. Catch up on that eye later. It's fine. It's fine. It's hard to like read and talk about things. So after you have like on my list, after homosexuality, we've got bisexuality, which was the only term available for queer people for a really long time that didn't fall under lesbian or gay. So I think a lot of people have, from an early age, identified as bi, but that's not quite accurate, although it can be. Bisexuality is definitely a real and valid sexuality, okay? Don't do the bi erasure. That's stupid. I identified as bi for a really long time, and then I identified as pan for a really long time, and now I identify as omnisexual. So, like, sometimes there's not the right words to explain how you feel, and that's totally fine too. Like, the word that describes your sexuality can change, your actual sexuality can change. You can change. You are not locked in just because you come out as one orientation. Like, you can always adjust. Like, however you feel is valid. So don't let anybody say what or who you are, because only you know. Only you know, and sometimes you don't know. Or sometimes it changes. So just go with it. It's whatever. It's totally fine. It's totally fine, man. I don't know if that made sense. But bisexuality does, the only, I think, downside to bisexuality is that it can reinforce the gender binary, because it's basically you're attracted to males and females only. But I think that's kind of like what am I trying to say? I think that argument in itself is a little unfair, because it like really simplifies the bisexual orientation, because it can definitely be more complicated than that. That's my story. That's my story. I'm just using this concealer to sharpen up this line. I love this sponge. This is the Eco Tool sponge, the smaller of the two. I like them both, but they both because they both have a little flat edge, which is nice for like cleaning shit up. You know what I mean? Clean that shit up, man. Okay, bisexual, and then of course pansexual was my orientation for a really long time. So pansexual goes beyond the gender binary into you're attracted to people regardless of their gender. So not just male and female, but it can include male and female. It also includes gender fluid people and gender queer people, intersex people, transgender people. Not saying that you have to be sexually attracted to every person on the planet, but that the gender and genitals and genitals don't matter in you becoming attracted to them. That's the gist. That's the gist of pansexual. And then we'll just go on with omnisexual, because that's my orientation, and that is you can be attracted to people of all genders, including their genitals. Not regardless of their genitals. It's a small distinction, but I think it's important. I'm gonna use my shadow stick from Anastasia just to cut my cheekbone a little bit and my nose. Excuse me. And just do a little contouring, cream contouring before I set my face. So another spin-off of pansexual is polysexual. I mean, it's not a spin-off, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So polysexual is attraction to multiple genders, but not necessarily all genders and gender expressions. So say you're attracted to men and women and masculine presenting trans folk, okay? Then you can be polysexual, because that's very specific as to what you're attracted to. Or maybe you're attracted to genderqueer people and cis male men. Just totally random, right? Like, because your sexuality can be totally random, because you don't have any control over it. So it's like not every gender in the world and gender expression, but it is more than two. And so that would be polysexual. And then I did a whole video on heterosexual and scoliosexual, so definitely check that out. It's in my Proud to be Proud series playlist, and I will link it down below. And maybe I'll put a card if you're lucky. But we shall see about that, because who knows if you're lucky enough. Or if I'm lucky enough even to do that. I look so pretty. And of course I could never just do a normal brown smoky eye. Like, of course I would blend it into my freaking temple. Nutcase. Yep, inevitable. Inevitable. Okay, we need to powder this mug. Powder it. I'm almost out of my favorite powder, and I don't know if I want to repurchase. It's from H&M Beauty. I love it so much. But like, it's hella expensive, and I only ever bought it in the store with my discount and on sale. So it's like, I have to really go buy it for $10. No, I'm not gonna do it. And I know that's not that expensive, but like, if I'm gonna buy something, I don't know how to explain it. I just think it's too expensive for what the product is, even though it is my favorite, which doesn't make any sense. So whatever, suck it. That's how I feel. My feelings are valid. And so are yours. How exciting is that? Valid, woohoo, we are valid. We're all valid together. Okay. Okay. Cute and more cute. Of course, I just got powder all over my skin, which is my note as well. Not a beer. Not quite. I have this beer, but I don't have any refill. Okay. What else? Polysexual, pansexual, omnisexual. What else we got? Asexual, obviously. Ace. Asexual, or ace for short, is having little or no sexual attraction to anyone. That is different than having no romantic attraction, which we're going to talk about in a minute. What we bronze, let's go. Asexual is that. And then demisexual, it's when you need a very strong friendship or emotional connection before you feel any sexual attraction whatsoever. Which, I mean,
it makes sense to me. I mean, I guess that means you don't like fantasize. Probably. I don't know if that's true. Any demisexuals out there? You tell me. Do you fantasize without having a partner to fantasize about? Like, do you see a movie star and you're like, yes? Or you see a movie star and you're like, well, they're handsome. That's it. I don't know. So, interesting questions. If any of y'all are demisexual or know the answer to that, please let me know in the comments below. So that's demisexual. And then we talked about queer, pansexual, polysexual. Okay, so let's go into, just for a moment, a brief jaunt into romantic versus sexual attraction. And then, of course, like friendship, platonic attraction. So a lot of people, I think, experience a lot of people experience sexual attraction and romantic attraction in congruency. Like, so you see somebody that is cute, you want to be their friend, you want to get to know them, you want to have sex with them, like all the things all tied up in one, but they don't have to be that way. So you can see someone and be like, oh, they look cool. I think they would be fun to hang out with. And then you're like, we're friends. And that would be a platonic attraction, right? But you can also have a romantic attraction where it's like a little bit more than just friends. Like you want to cuddle, maybe you want to kiss, maybe you don't want to do those things. Maybe you just want to like treat them to dinner and, you know, go on dates and have a really close relationship, a little bit closer than a friendship would be, and leave it at that. You guys don't want to have sex. And then you can also have a sexual relationship, well, a sexual attraction without a romantic attraction. So you could just be like physically attracted to someone and want to have sex with them, but not be attracted to their personality or whatever it is, so that you don't actually want to form any romantic relationships. So like you don't want to go on dates, you don't want to do anything like that. Y'all just want to do the nasty, which is valid as well, as long as it's consenting. Everything must be consensual, and that's all there is to it, for sure. So yeah, so you can have a sexual, romantic, and platonic relationship without all three of those being coexisting. That's that. So, other sexualities. You can be aromantic, which is what we just talked about, where you don't want a romantic relationship, but you do still find people sexy. You still want to have sex with them. You can be demi-romantic, where people eventually have romantic feelings for a friend. So starting as a platonic relationship, you get to know somebody, and then you're like, oh, I really want to do more than friendship, but less than sex. So that could be demi-romantic. And then demisexual is kind of like, you may have originally had a romantic or a platonic relationship, and as that got closer, then you start feeling sexual attractions to them as well. So it's like an evolution sort of sexuality, which I think is very interesting. So yes, romance, sexuality, and platonic relationships are completely different. And I think that makes sense on the platonic and sexual part, but the romance part is kind of the gray in between, which is confusing to people. But I think that it's really valid and a good kind of way to break it down. Although I guess some people are really against the romantic, aromantic dichotomy because binaries suck and it's a gray scale and it's a whole spectrum, and I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it's an interesting way to think about things. And you are valid. How many times am I going to say that in this video? A million times. Drinking game. If you drink responsibly. Take a shot every time I say, you are valid. I'm like, I forgot what I'm saying. What am I saying? Yeah, okay. So, I've also done a Instagram post about androsexuality, which is the attraction to masculinity, which does not necessarily mean penises, but it definitely, I think, does usually include a penis attraction, but also just masculine stereotypes. So say I use power tools and you think that's sexy, and I'm still female. I think that if you're attracted to the masculine traits in a woman, then you could also be androsexual. Correct me if I'm wrong, people out there. As you know, I'm not an expert, I'm just an informed individual. And so yeah, androsexual is that. And then on the other side, you can be gynosexual or gynophilic, which is attraction to female characteristics, which again does not necessarily include, but definitely usually does, I think, include organs. So like you could be attracted to a feminine gay guy, for instance, and he presents extremely feminine, and that's what attracts you to him. Then you might actually be gynophilic and not necessarily 100% homosexual, even though those things could be coexisting as well. So anyway, that's just an interesting thing that I thought I would bring up. And so, so that's my story. I want an orange, like I just want a straight up orange blush. So I'm gonna actually use this shade from the Tribe palette, the top one, and blush my cheeks with that because I'm hardcore and I do what I want. It's true. It's called Oromo. I have a feeling that Oromo is gonna be the shade I use up the fastest. This is also the shade I brought up into my temple, so it'll just kind of like, you know, get everything together the way I want it to be. Oh, bitch, that's so pretty. That's so pretty. Okay, I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. We talked about asexuality, we talked about romantic attraction, and there are no more notes. No more notes. That's all the notes I had to talk about on this video. So, yeah, I thought it might be cool to do a video about what? I just lost my whole train of thought right there. It might be cool to do a video about like slang terms and like things like that about sexuality, sexual orientation, and gender and all that stuff. Like, I mean, obviously there's the generic like dyke, dyke, faggot, fag, you know, all those words that people know because they're in mainstream media, but there's a lot of other things that are not so mainstream. So if y'all are interested in learning a little bit more about that, let me know and I can get my resources together and do some stuff on that. So that would be super fun for me. I'll probably do it even if you don't want me to. Because I'm a badass. Okay, I'm gonna top off with a little of this Makeup Revolution Golden Days. No, not Golden Days. This is called Golden Lights highlighter. I'm really happy with how this look is coming together. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish my other side of my face off camera, and then I'll be back to conclude and tell you guys a little bit about bears. And I'll see you in a hot second. Hello, beautiful universe. I got distracted watching Alonzo Larone reading ridiculous kid notes to their parents. Funny. I love them. Okay. And I did a little research, and basically what I said is exactly what a bear is, which is like a cuddly, bigger, hairy, gay guy who's pretty masculine, but still like adorably cute. That would be what I'd say. So yeah, so let's finish up this look. My friend Brandy is coming over to do some baking with me. Yay, we're gonna bake actual food, not our faces. Okay, we're gonna use a little brownie from Lime Crime and brush up our brows and just finish up this mug and say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was educational and useful and that I didn't offend any of the LGBTQIA plus family. I like prefer you include all those letters, but to each their own. In any case, I'm here for you guys. You guys are awesome. I mean, I guess I'm part of it, so don't like get me wrong. I'm here for myself as well. You are valid and you deserve recognition and comfort and safety, and that's very important. So happy Pride Month to everybody, and happy Pride Month specifically on this video to our bears out there who are queer and proud and adorable. Okay, that's my brows. Let's do some lips. I do want a lip liner. Where? I don't know. These are not lip liners. These are eyeliners. Lip liners are over here. Okay. I'm gonna do some cider from Lime Crime. My lips are hella dry, ignore that. Please ignore it. You know what I think is so funny is like, I chiseled out my jawline today, and on camera it looks fine, but in real life it's so harsh. And I don't know how to make it less harsh. So that's my story, for sure. Okay, so that's that. And then I need a gloss. Actually, I'm gonna do a little lipstick. So this is a nude lipstick because I think it's too pink. And as we said, bears are masculine, so we don't want our lips to be too pink for a bear pride, obviously. And with Pearl from Lime Crime, of course. So guys, I'm probably not gonna buy anything from the Jawbreaker launch, to be honest. Is that lame? Maybe not. But there are some things I want to repurchase, so I'll probably do a repurchase on my next paycheck if I can afford it. Because I need like some more drug lord, I need some more weirdo, because I am a weirdo. Okay, I think that's the whole look. I hope that you guys enjoyed getting ready with me and learning about gender and sexuality and sexual orientation and all that great jazz that's very important in our world, especially nowadays with so much drama going on with it, and even in the past, like it's always been a point of contention for modern history. So thank you for learning and enjoying, and if you have any comments, please leave them in the description. No. If you have any comments, leave them below. Please be respectful. And I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!